Hey everyone, welcome to Annie Unleashed. This is video 7 of the TFSA series. So far, we've talked about the basics of TFSAs, how contributions work, how withdrawals work, the do's and don'ts of withdrawals, how the earnings within a TFSA work, and how it could affect your government benefits and credits. If you haven't seen those, go check those out. I'll also put the link in the description box. At the end, I'm going to talk about an investment flow guide I've created. If you're interested, stick around and I'll tell you more. For now, let's jump into the 5 reasons I think you must have a TFSA based on your situation. So let's dive in. Point number 1, if you have a clear goal or intention of your next steps, you don't have to have your whole life figured out, right? Your whole money life figured out. You just have to know kind of the next couple steps. It's really helpful if you've already worked with a professional who can outline that, give you some information based on your specific situation. But if you've got an idea or a goal for yourself with regards to your next steps, then it's a good idea to open up that TFSA because now you've got clarity and good reasoning and a purpose, knowing how you're going to use that TFSA to help you with that goal or your dream or your purpose or your intention and use the money in a smart way. Point number 2, as to why you must have a TFSA, is if you understand the basics of how it works and you tie that into the first point, which is you have a clear goal, an intention, or a purpose for it, then it's a good idea to have a TFSA. The reason I say that, and I've said it in other videos, is if you know the rules of the game, then you know how to play it in a way that makes it work for you. So if you understand the basics of how the TFSA works, you're not expected to be a professional and expert at first, but you should understand the basics so that you make your money work smart. You're taking advantage of the benefits and features of a TFSA for a specific reason, right? For a specific purpose. So if you understand the basics and you're ready to apply that, you must open a TFSA and make it work for you. Point number 3. Point number 3 for why you must open a TFSA is if you have a high income and you've already maxed out your RSP contributions and any other vehicles that will help you in terms of tax minimization or just reducing your taxes in a legal way, and just finding tax efficiency. So if you've taken care of all of that, you followed all of those steps, usually accountants and good financial planners or advisors will give you those recommendations and solutions in advance. So you've taken care of all that, then you must have a TFSA and you still have, some savings goals, or you still have additional money to save, then yes, you must have a TFSA to help you with all the other goals. Now, the tax deductions won't come, but the tax efficiency over time will. And again, it goes back to knowing how it works and having a plan. Point number 4 for why you must have a TFSA. If you have a short-term goal or an emergency savings account that isn't your bank account, which, it has some purpose, but for the most part, I highly recommend putting your money into your investment accounts simply for the purpose. There's way less fraud that happens with investment accounts versus bank accounts, and your opportunity for growth is much more in investment account than for savings accounts. That's my 2 cents worth. I've mentioned that in other videos, but if you have a short-term goal or an emergency goal, instead of just leaving the money in a bank account, a checking account, savings account, where it's hardly earning anything, and anyway, whatever it is earning in interest income is being eaten away by inflation, then I highly recommend that you put your money in a TFSA. Even if you put it in interest-bearing investments in your TFSA, the fact that you wouldn't have to pay tax on that growth, on those earnings, already puts you at an advantage versus earning that same interest income in your savings account, your bank account. So if you've got a short-term goal, a savings goal, and that could look like, and I've mentioned this in another video, it could look like your annual car and maintenance costs. It could look like a travel goal. It could look like first and last month's rent or a mortgage down payment, in addition to the RSP strategy that you would use for the home. It could look like any kind of emergency fund, a rainy day fund, a health spending fund. Truly, there are no limits to how you could use your TFSA in a way that works for you. And so if you've got, a short-term goal, and by short-term goal, I mean, it could be as short as, 3 to 5 years. It could be as short as, 6 months to a year, ideally a year or more. so that you're not contributing and withdrawing at the same time. I've just put out a video that talks about that, why that's not ideal. But if you've got a short-term goal, and in addition to my other points, where you know how the basics of how it works and you've got a plan for it, then you must have a TFSA. Last point, point number 5 for why you must have a TFSA, and this might be the most interesting one, is if you're not a high income earner, but you have money to put aside and to save, and it doesn't make sense for you to max out your RSP contributions per se. And again, you need to get some really good specific advice for your situation. But if you're not a high income earner, but you do have some savings goals, it might make more sense for you to put that money into a TFSA. Again, know how it works, take advantage of the benefits and features of a TFSA. But that's my 5th point about why you must have a TFSA in that kind of a situation. Especially if you want to be really tax smart and tax efficient with your money, go and watch my videos on how earnings work in a TFSA, how they're taxed, as well as how withdrawals are taxed from a TFSA. That'll give you some more background in terms of if you're not a high income earner, but you do want to be smart and savvy with your money in terms of investing in it, investing that money, having it grow, compound over time, which is money growing on money, growing on money. And at the same time, being tax efficient about it, meaning that you're either paying less tax or no tax. And in the case of TFSAs, generally it's no tax. So go and watch those videos for more details. I hope you found these 5 points helpful as to why you must have a TFSA, or at least consider it. I'm a financial planner and I do help people with their particular situations. But if you've got a person that you already work with, whether it's an advisor, a financial planner, or some kind of money person, your accountant, who can give you some education around, does it make sense for you to put your money into a TFSA and the reasons why. You should really have someone who understands your specific situation, so that they can understand how to make the most use of all the different kinds of investment vehicles, as well as tax efficiencies for your specific situation. Less tax paid is more money in your pocket. So that's generally the idea. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you stuck around this long, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. I appreciate the support. And I'm offering a free downloadable investment flow guide. It's basically 4 different profiles that I've put together. There's no quiz, no questions you need to answer. It's for entertainment purposes, but there is practical and very tangible knowledge that you can use based on how you need to invest. So take a look. There's tips anywhere from tools and platforms that could help you out based on how you need to do it and the way that you approach investing and savings and being strategic with your money. There's some bonus tips and an affirmation or two if you're so inclined. It is truly my pleasure to be able to put these videos together for you. I really enjoy them. If you have any comments, I do respond to every single one of them. If you have any questions or ideas about other videos that you'd like me to do, please let me know. Put them in the comments, and I'll definitely consider it and put something out soon. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.